The Latin vowel forms the meat of each word, and you can't have a word or a syllable in Latin without a vowel. Each vowel comes in long and short forms, and you'll be able to differentiate between these with the long mark, called a macron, which is Greek for long, placed over the vowel. Beware though, macrons aren't always placed over vowels in all books, since macrons weren't invented until well after the classical period. So here's how each vowel sounds in its corresponding long and short forms. We'll start with A. When the A is long, it's like the A in father. When short, it's an as in idea. So this is the difference between how you would pronounce the words puella and puella. The long E is an A, like the vowel sound in date. The short E is an in bet. So you can hear the difference in the words haber and duker. The I when long sounds like the E in machine. When short, it's an as in sit. The long I is at the end of laudawi, and the short I is at the end of laudawit. The long O is an O as in holy. The short O is an A as in off. The length of the O is the difference between the words pompa and Pompeius. The U when long is an U sound like in hoot. The short U sounds like as in foot. Manus and manus. Finally, the Y sounds like the vowel in the French word tu or in the German über. This vowel was borrowed from the Greeks and is often used only in Greek words in place of the upsilon. Apparently, Latin speakers also had problems pronouncing this vowel correctly, and its sound changed to more like an E. Nevertheless, we should try to pronounce it in the classical way. So, Tyrannus. Apart from these vowel sounds, though, there are also combinations of vowels called diphthongs. A diphthong occurs when two vowels merge together to fill up one syllable space. So you end up pronouncing each vowel, but you don't pronounce them separately. So here, let me illustrate. The most common diphthong in Latin is the A-E. We pronounce this I, and if you listen very carefully in I, you can hear that the A merges with the E, I. So we lie. The other diphthongs in Latin are EI, pronounced A, as in deinde, OE, which is oi in poina, EU, which is eu in seu, AU, which is au, as in aurum, and UI, which is wi, like in huic. Diphthongs, because they are two vowel sounds in one, are always considered to be long syllables, and this concept becomes very important in studying Latin poetry. The Latin vowel alphabet gave us our English alphabet, and you can't have a word or a syllable in Latin
the same as they are in English, although Latin doesn't have all of the letters that English has. Let's look at the letters themselves and how the Romans would have pronounced them.
I, U, O, E, A, T, S, K, S, W, Y.
There's a couple of notes about these consonants. So first, the Latin C was always hard. So what do I mean by that? It's always going to sound like a K in English, like the C in cat, and never like the C in cinch. It also never sounds like a CH, by the way. In medieval Latin and Church Latin, the C sometimes had a CH sound, ch, but our classical pronunciation always has the C sound like a K. So this name is pronounced Caesar, not Caesar. The same goes for the G. It's always hard like the G in gain. It's never going to be soft like in gem. So fugitivus. The I can be a vowel or a consonant. The rule is pretty easy. If a word begins with an I and the next letter is a vowel, like in these words, it's actually a consonant and sounds like our Y. So these are pronounced yam, yuno, and yaktatus. Also, when the I is in between two other vowels later on in the word, it acts like a consonant too. So it's huius and peior. In the Middle Ages, the consonantal I was differentiated from the vowelic I by making it a little bit longer and curling it. And so this is where the J comes from in English. And that's why the name in English is Juno. In Latin, just like in English, the Q is always followed by a U. And in this situation, the U never counts as a vowel. It's just part of the Q. So it's quis and equus. The Romans trilled their letter R and even described this as the dog letter because it sounded like a dog when it growls. Romanos and arma. The S is always pronounced like it is in the English sut, and never like a Z as it is in rose. So in Latin, si and servus. The T also always sounds like our basic T sound like in time, and never like a sh or a ch, as sometimes happens in English with ratio. In Latin, that word is pronounced ratio. The U is actually like the I, in that it is both a consonant and a vowel. The consonantal form of the U is actually a V, and it's traditional for many Latin textbooks to change all consonantal U's into V's, so you might not ever have to worry about this. But every so often you will pick up a Latin text and it will have only U's instead of V's. In this instance, the capital U looks like our English capital V. And that's why on monuments and inscriptions that date back to Roman times, all U's are V's because they're capitalized. It's pretty easy to get used to, though, especially if you've done quite a bit of Latin. The V in Latin is pronounced like a W sound. So Caesar's famous saying isn't veni vidi vici, but veni vidi vici. One more quick note on pronunciation of consonants. Every so often you'll run across a CH, PH, or TH. These are usually from words derived from Greek and represent aspirated consonants. That means we don't pronounce these like we usually do in English, where CH is ch, PH is f, and TH is th. Instead, in Latin, the CH is like a C with a breath of air after it, like the CH in character. So it's charon. The PH is like a P, and the TH is like a T. This rule of pronunciation is probably the most frequently broken rule, excepting the trilling of the R's, which is just damn hard, in Latin classes by students, teachers, and professors alike. The Latin vowel is a different issue, and that's something I address in another video.